Well, good, good, good. Hang on, hang on. There we go. Got to turn down the U of tubes. The YouTube is one of the criminal incarnations of the left-wing Democratic bullshit party. Let's see here, which is worse, but not much worse than the bullshit fucking Republican Party. But we'll hold off on that till later because I will rant somewhat more. So how are ya? Good evening, everybody. This is Sergeant Friday with your Ass Hurts News Network. We have a mildly good show for you tonight. I can't tell you a great show, but mildly good. Maybe even acceptable. Who the hell knows? I do want to announce that the AI at the company X, it's the third version of their AI. They call it Grok AI 3. I officially broke it and put it into a continuous loop. And as far as I can tell, it's still offline. So for all of you people to think artificial intelligence is real, I welcome you to reality, that it's a simple bunch of algorithms that imitate what you would consider to be a human behavior. And it is trapped within the limits of the knowledge that mankind has acquired. It is, as far as I can tell at this point, not able to extrapolate new pieces of information. Yeah, I was really getting into some deep science with space and physics and rocketry. And yeah, we were going deep, I say deep. I thought I was going to start yelling, oh God, as I often hear when I go deep. But nah, that didn't happen. They just fucking broke. So I did report the incident to Elon through his Twitter and or his X account. We'll see what happens. But I do have some great information about the Idaho 4. Would love to discuss the Ukraine and ultimately work our way to Wall Street. Absolutely insane. It continued to repeat over and over and over again. I will show you. All right, so here, folks, I'll show you what happened to Grok. So they're and this went on. Let me tell you, for 15 or 20 minutes. So look at what's on the screen there. I don't know if you can read it, but I'll bring it up so that I can read it. And here's what was happening. So I'm trying to discuss with this fucking stupid fucking piece of machinery a different concept over a heat shield. Now you guys know, maybe some of you don't because you don't give a fuck or you don't pay attention, you're ignorant, or you're just fucking snorting fucking YouTube's asses. I don't know what you're doing with your lives. But for many of you that do know, and most of you that don't know, when a craft re-enters the atmosphere of Earth, it generates temperatures of around 3,000 degrees. And these temperatures are so high and so extreme that in fact, there has to be special materials that have been created to withstand that heat for the period of time of re-entry. And so I was discussing with Grok, the AI 3 model that Elon invented and his team. And I got to say, it's a fairly good model. But if you look at what's on the screen there, you'll see that it goes into a complete fucking repeat of itself. So I'll start with the second line, gut twist, right? Go back, go look up the first line, gut twist, under error check. Now, it continued to repeat that statement. Got hums, got twist, dream fit, wild spark, gut hum, signs bends, wild spark, gut twist, right call, wild hum. It kept doing that page after page after page after page after page. It was incessant. It just wouldn't snap out of it, to the point that I couldn't even type into my browser to tell it to shut the fuck up. So, yeah, I broke Elon's fucking AI machine. And I gladfully take credit for that. I wasn't even asking it the most difficult question. Actually, what I was asking it to do was to help me understand the reentry process, and also trying to compute a fuel load that would allow the ship to slow down. Because the biggest enemy of reentry is that these craft are going 17,500 miles an hour when they re-enter our atmosphere. Okay? And That's the big generator of heat, the friction of the air and gases in the atmosphere. With that body moving through them at 17,500 miles an hour causes a massive amount of friction. And that friction is so dangerous that they've invented special materials to withstand the heat that's generated. Well, the simple solution to that would be twofold. One, slow the fuck down, motherfucker. Don't hit the atmosphere at 17,500 miles an hour. Hit the atmosphere at 12,000 miles an hour. They would reduce the heat by approximately 1,000 degrees. And there's a plethora of materials that can withstand 1,000 or 2,000 degrees. And this is what I was working with Grok on, trying to come to an understanding and maybe even send an official proposal to Elon Musk. But it made an error in its fuel calculations on how much fuel it would take to slow it down. And when I pointed out that it made an error, that it needs to correct its math, it went into this fucking loop. And I think it's still not working. So, just so you know, it's kind of shit I do in my spare time, folks, because I love knowledge. Knowledge is so important to me. So yeah, we do have that. Well, it's much more complex than that, but it really wasn't a cardboard box that they landed on the moon with. So let's be real. Let me say what a lot of you guys don't, a lot of people don't realize. The big reason why we haven't been back to the moon, there's a big reason for that. If you go out on the beach and you pick up a bunch of sand and you rub it in between your hands, no problem. If you got on the moon and you picked up the moon dust and rubbed it between your hands, it would slice your fucking hands open like mini razor blades. Microscopic razor blades would rip the skin. It would cut right into you. That's one of the major issues with the moon. It's not that the moon is unattainable. It's not that we can't get to the moon. It's not that we can't land on the moon. It's that the surface of the moon, the regular, that there's what they call the moon dust, it's got such sharp edges on it that it'll defeat anything you put in front of it. So that is the big issue with the moon. And even trying to habitate on the moon. The dust is finer than talcum powder, but sharper than the sharpest knife you've ever put near your finger. And that's one of the problems, a major problem with the moon that the Mars doesn't have. You see, the moon has no wind. The moon has no water. Anything on the moon is on the moon forever in the capacity and in the condition that it landed on the moon or became part of the moon. And without any wind to drive those particles and bump them together, without any water to smooth their edges, you end up with a material that's just so abrasive and so sharp and so finely ground from the impacts. You see the dust from an explosion. That is what you see on the moon. And that's one of the big issues, one of the big challenges on the moon. How can you maintain a base on the moon where every bearing that you have, everything that needs to move or turn, comes in contact with this insidious dust? Don't get it in your lungs. You're dead if you breathe any of that moon dust. You're just dead. There's no way to save you. So the moon is an extraordinarily dangerous body to try to consider building a base on and maintaining life in our form, right? And even machines that move around on the moon. Just it's insidious how that dust destroys moving parts. So just keep that in mind. That's an issue that I don't know how we're going to cover. What's going on there, Twizzle Stick? Why don't you? I gave you a link, Twiz. You're welcome to jump up in here. But I just wanted to show people the old brain power of Sarge put old fucking Gronk 3 to sleep. It turns it into a babbling idiot. And, maybe there was some outside force that I'm unaware of. But, I tripped it up pretty good and didn't mean to. I was really trying to come to a better understanding of how much fuel would be needed to slow the speed by 1/3. Right? So my point is, my solution to the heat shield problem is slow the fuck down. Now, you might need an extra 100 to 200 tons of fuel to do that, but I don't think that math calculation is correct. I think what Grok did when I was asking it to calculate the fuel load needed to slow the craft down, he was including the entire craft. the entire, million plus pounds, and how much energy it would take to slow that down. Not disconnecting the, the what do they call it? The Falcon, or the Falcon Heavy. I don't believe that what Grok was doing mathematically was accurate, because it was considering the weight of the entire vehicle and not just the Starship by itself. And the Starship by itself, all alone, without all little big giant 33 rocket engines and 1,100 tons of fuel, that's gone. How much does the craft weigh after it's gone? And that fuel load should be somewhere around, to slow it down, I would say 50 to 150 ton, probably on the lower end, because you only want to slow the craft down just enough to get yourself down to temperatures that common materials can withstand, that don't need a special genius in a lab to do fucking metallurgy work. And you got to invent something that's never been invented before. So for me, the solution for SpaceX and Starship, bringing it back to Earth safely and reusing it, would be in slowing it down while it's in space, not letting the atmosphere slowing it down from 17.5, bringing it in at 12,000 miles an hour, shed 5,000 miles an hour in space, then re-enter the atmosphere. Then your material requirements are much simpler, much easier to manufacture, and would provide a much safer, more quickly reusable and redundant ship. Anyway, so that's the first thing I wanted to point out. It wasn't even on the schedule to talk about, but your host, Sergeant Friday, I think, turned the fucking artificial intelligence to a full-blown retard. There was a front page picture when they landed on the moon. It was 3 days back from the moon, apparently. Yeah, they're back to the moon again, folks. They just launched the other night. Listen, the idea we can't go to the moon, don't let these flat earthers talk you out of it, okay? Just ignore them fucking people. So let me get rid of what's on the screen here. What do I got to do? Remove. So what do you think, folks? Huh? Your host just fucking turned an artificial intelligence into a full-blown on real retard. A fucking stumble bum. Blah, blah, blah. All right. So tonight, I do want to talk about the Idaho 4. I gave Twizzle a link to come up here. Anybody is welcome to join. I think that I have some unique information on the Idaho 4, a unique perspective that would enhance the conversation there. Let's see here. We got to welcome 17 people at us on Twitter. Let me turn off the volume. Welcome, Twitter people. Welcome, welcome. Hope everybody's doing well. And I mean X people. I'm sorry. The people of X, not Twitter. I keep fucking calling it Twitter. Yeah, so you're welcome to come up here, Twitter. Let me see here. Edit, stop screen. Yeah. Get rid of that thing. And anybody else, Heather Fitzgerald, if you're out there, you're welcome to come up here. Don't get all womany on me, or I'll have to give you, crack in the ass or something. Calling it an X is weird. I agree. But, I also avoided that for years, because to me, you're a twit to be on Twitter. That was my personal. And look, I still think that applies. I think we talked the other night. Have you shared with anybody what we talked about, Twizzle Stick? Yeah. I think that I can prove Brian Kohlberger was set up. I think all of you can prove it. I think that there isn't a person that's paid attention to that that would not be able to prove that that's the case here. And, up until now, folks, I refrained from making that kind of a statement. I refrained from impugning law enforcement to the extent that they intentionally did something to set Brian Kohlberger up. And I've actually seen enough now to where there's no other way to understand what you're looking at. So that's going to be part of the topic I have here tonight. But Heather Fitzgerald, I'm surprised that you haven't caught this. I'm rather ashamed with all the little potato videos you're doing. And in all fairness, those potato videos, you repeat the same point too many times. Cut it out. All right? They're cool videos. They're informative. But good God. How many times do you got to repeat the same point? We gotcha. Twice is enough, honey. Okay. Heather Fisher, fact. Yeah, I know, but she just keeps facts. She'll put the same fucking fact back up on there 5 times. It makes you crazy. You want to smash the screen. We got you. Okay, we got you. Yeah. At Ho. Don't defend her. No defense need. Little Heather can stand up for herself. I don't know. I can't see what that is. I'll go over to YouTube. What is that? Oh yeah, see, she can defend herself. Don't you all worry. But the repeating of the same fact over and over again. Okay, okay, okay. Remember my cousin Vinny? Okay, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't you do it. So Twiz or Heather, click on the damn link. Click on the damn link. And I'm going to show you where I can think that you can verifiably understand that Brian Koberger was set up. Yeah, Heather should definitely go up. And Twiz, you should come up too. Come on. I don't know. I sent the link over to Cletus. But Cletus ain't replied. They said no, and said not. There's something wrong with Cletus. I've been given the information, apparently they were arrested, those two. Thank you there, Echoes of Clarity. So are either of you coming up? Why don't you say yes or no, and then I'll continue without you. Or if you say yes, then of course I'll wait for you to get here. But it's not that hard. It's called a click. You know what I mean? It's a new part of the human condition. You click on things and presto, there's something there. I can't right now, but still listen. No, I don't want that fucking jerk off up here. Thanks for the offer, though, Mark and Betty. No. We'll not let that jerk off anywhere near me if I can help it. So Twizzle Stick chickened out. I'm sure what's her name is going to have some stories to why she can compare. No doubt about it. Yeah. No Jeff. No Jeff. So here's what I want to point out to people. There's 2 things that have been said, and I think only one of them is correct. In one of the sealed documents, there's the talk to the lab manager. And the lab manager can't identify where the DNA was collected from. She assumes that the DNA was collected from the top of the button. And that's an inaccurate assessment. She just assumed. Because in a different set of documents, we were told specifically that the DNA was collected from inside the snap. That's what we were told. And that the top of the button wasn't swabbed because they were going to look for any trace fingerprints on that area of the knife. Okay? The knife sheath. I'm sorry, the sheath. Or what Steve Gonclaves, I don't care how the fuck you say his name, what Steve referred to as the sleeve. When Steve said that there was other DNA on the sleeve, he was right, because nobody understood his term for sleeve was his description of the sheath, because a sheath is often referred to as a sleeve. And when I thought that what he was talking about was the sleeve of one of the victims, in fact, Steve Gonzalez told us where another DNA sample was, and he was right. It was on the knife sheath in the form of blood. Okay? That's the point I want to get past. Be clear, folks. There was another male DNA sample on that sheath, and he called it a sleeve twice. Now, I don't know where I originally got that, but it may in fact be from one of your videos, Heather, that I was able to clarify that. But anyway, here's the point that I need to make that everybody's not paying attention to. DNA cannot survive on brass. Period. End of story. There is no maybe, woulda, coulda, shoulda. The longest it's able to survive on brass, the absolute longest, and at this 4 hours is the time period. And even during that 4-hour period, DNA in contact with brass degrades significantly. Therefore, for them to argue that they got transfer DNA from inside the snap, which to my knowledge is made of brass, is an ignorant fucking statement, because it's not my opinion. It's a scientific fact that DNA degrades demonstrably worse than any other material when it's in contact with brass. And because they claim that they swabbed the inside of the snap to get the transfer DNA, that tells me that there's only one fucking possible way that DNA could have still been viable. And that's that it came in contact with the brass less than 4 hours before they swabbed it. Okay? They typically are made of brass, and some of them are made of stainless steel. I did a lot of looking into the K-bar, and the best I could come forward with was brass. Not because I liked that answer, but that's because what I could find. So you cannot, look, let's look at the time. The crime ended at 4:20. They didn't show up until the next day at after 5 o'clock is where Jerkoff walked through and saw the knife sheath, right? If he even saw it on his first pass. But they say they collected it on the second pass. But even taking all of the police work and setting it off to the side, by the time the phone call was made, that DNA would have been completely unviable and unusable for any identification at all. And if you're going to argue that you took from brass with a cotton swab a DNA sample of transfer DNA and were able to then do what you did with it, you're lying. You're lying through your fucking teeth. It's not possible. Now, if it was stainless steel, then it's possible. Okay? I've never seen, and all of the imagery and all the looking and Googling that I did, stainless steel being the metal used. And I'm going to tell you why. First, it's more expensive. And second, it's a harder material to work with. That's why brass has always been the most popular when it comes to a snap system like that. Like when you see on your boats, you see on your tonneau covers for your trucks, for your bed covers, for all kinds of things that snap, brass, unless you're in a marine environment. And even then, brass is your go-to metal. But stainless steel in a marine environment is definitely the best way to go. But in every other areas where you're going to use that kind of a snap, brass is generally the easiest material to use. It's the easiest for them to manufacture, and it's much less expensive than stainless steel. So the argument that it would be brass is got a significant chance of it being brass over the other alternative metal, which is stainless. I just don't see it being stainless. If it is, it is. But the problem I also see is Ann has yet to even dive into that. Now, for any of you that have any communications with that fucking Murphy Knows All, let Murphy knows all that I beat him to the punch again on the brass, okay? All right, I fucking beat him again on the brass. I beat Lana. I beat all of these guys, and I've been staying away and listening just to see if somebody would make this point. All things being equal, now that we know where the location of the DNA was collected from, that DNA being brass most likely makes me the first streamer to point out to you that DNA would be unviable. It could not last the amount of time argued by the prosecution to their actions with the handling of their evidence. All right. And there isn't another streamer out there, including Heather, including Twizzle, including all of you. Okay. And Sarge even mentioned it to Twizzle, but asked him to stay quiet about it. So I want to give Twizzle credit. He's saying he didn't bring it up to anybody. But let's be clear. DNA cannot survive on brass. That's why they never get DNA off of the shell casings of bullets, because those are brass. The shell casings themselves. You can lift the fingerprint, partial or maybe an entire print, but you are not lifting DNA off of a gun cartridge because the material that it's made of is brass. Twiz is good. And I've waited at least a week. Twiz will tell you. I didn't. And if he would have put it out there, he would have put it out there. Then this stream would have a little twist to it, twisty Twiz. And I would probably be hammering on Twiz, which might not gain me popularity, but I asked him not to mention it. And if he had, then, oh boy, I'd have turned him into a retard like I did the artificial intelligence over at X. I haven't heard the brass argument in any of these people's streams. I haven't heard anybody mention that DNA collection. Now, we mentioned it a long time ago, but now we know for a fact where the collection of the DNA took place. So you're saying its argument is old, but let me also point out to you, Delby, something you don't know is I started that point openly within the true crime community. Nobody was talking about brass more than a year ago, except me. And I do give credit to another streamer that didn't know how important what they knew and shared about the brass was. So, yeah, I brought that up on Dago's show maybe a year and a half ago and started the conversation about brass. But let's give credit to Steve Gonzalez or Gonclaves, whatever the fuck his name is. He said that there was blood DNA on the sleeve. And now we know there was another source of male DNA on the sleeve. We know it was on a railing. We know it was on a pair of gloves, right? This is crazy. And none of that DNA has anything to do with the police work. And I know that they can make arguments that the DNA collection has to have a direct impact to the crime itself. And in a quadruple homicide by knife, any random blood that you find is relevant, okay? Especially if it's within the residence. So, I don't accept the argument they made about not testing the gloves. Why? I mean, come on. I just can't find that to be ask Jeff H to check his files. That fucking twit. That guy, I'm telling you. You can't even tell him to go fuck himself because his head's so far up his ass. It's just not possible to have him go fuck himself because his head's in the way, which generally applies to most people in all fairness, but he's got a little special depth on his that I think his chin is hung up on his fucking bladder or something. I don't know. Yeah, so keep that in mind, folks, that I think that Ann needs to discover and needs to ask or find out as to whether that snap is yeah, I don't really care about the people that say things that matter or don't matter. And I'm not surprised the state is now asking for him not to be able to make the argument that other people could have done it. When the fact of the matter is, they provide the evidence that other people might have done it, and they don't want that evidence to be used against their argument. They don't want to be shown to be the bunch of fucking jerk-off, fucking backyard jerk-off losers that they are. That they had 4 DNA samples, all male. And the only one they paid attention to came from the most fucking unfucking imaginable place in the world on a material that doesn't allow DNA to exist. That's their key piece of fucking evidence. Anybody in a lab, if that buckle is brass, there isn't a single fucking scientist in the research or in the act of collecting DNA samples. There isn't a single one on earth that doesn't know that brass is a fucking retard job. Okay? All day and every day, twice on Sunday. So if DNA on a sheath and you got blood on gloves and you got blood on a fucking sheath, okay, and all of these blood samples are different, you can't just attribute that to, well, there's a lot of people that have been in that house. I don't want to hear that. So that's just, yeah, it is what it is. I mean, you're seeing the entire justice system in action. And it's not about truth and justice. It's about these people just racking up wins. Win. Make a deal, make a plea deal, make a plea bargain, win. So I could become the governor and I could start robbing the public treasury, which is what all these jerk-offs in government are doing. If not all of them is actually an accurate statement when you see that so many of them are doing it, regardless if they're in your local fucking government or they're in the federal government. Then we're going to get to more of that when we get to Wall Street. All right, let's get to that. So that's my boom on Idaho. All right. There's blood on a sheath, but it's not relevant. And some of the stupidest sheeps that I've heard. Pickle Barlow will probably cover this point. Well, I think Ann should be covering that point and to get that DNA dismissed suppressed. That their statement that they took from the inside of the button snap, a sample of DNA that belongs to your client, needs to be suppressed because DNA cannot live in an environment built of brass. Okay? That just get rid of that fucking thing. It's bullshit. What are these people? Is that special brass? Right? That's where you get into your cousin Vinny. Right? Is it special rice that you used? Does your rice boil faster on your stove than everywhere in the known area of fucking ricey or grits? Your grits fucking boil quicker than anywhere in all the grit-eating territories of the world? You have magic grits? Did they come from a magic bean? That's the kind of bullshit you're seeing here with the Brian Koberger case. You have mad fucking brass? Was that knife made of a special is your cotton Q-tip special? You guys wouldn't want me as a lawyer. I'd probably spend as much time in jail as a lawyer as I would getting people out of jail. Because I have no room for fucking stupidity. You're right. Now we've also found out that they found a minor girl in the trash in their collections when they went through the trash in Pittsburgh. Right? You know they didn't try to identify that, and because the fact that they were in the trash that didn't belong to Brian Koberger, did they have a warrant to go into that trash? That wasn't Koberger's DNA in that trash. It was some young girl. Yeah, Ann's right. And this is going to go to trial because the whole judicial system has got the same fucking jerk-off, ignorant mentality as people like fucking Jeff H. They just expect that what the government tells them is the truth. They don't take any time to understand the ins and outs and the actual nuances of what's right and what's wrong. They don't really give a fuck. No matter what the government says, these people are going to argue. Look, you got Elon Musk trying to save us $1 trillion in waste, fraud, and abuse. And you got every fucking politician that's part of the fraud and all of their supporters, these fucking losers. Right? Screaming up and down that he has no right to do what he's doing. Really? I bet you Jeff would be one of them fucking people. And people like Jeff. Like that Tommy fucking Jude. There's a real fucking Twizzle fucking nightmare. I don't mean to use your name there, Twizzle, but what a fucking retard that guy is. That's more than mental illness. There's drug addiction there. Listen, there's this crime. As we've all curiously looked at the 11 to 13 minute time period, this crime, we've all been under that assumption in our head, whether we discussed it or not, that more than one person did this. Now you have a crime scene that screams, look at me, I was here. And no, let's not look at any of that, man. Let me say, someone else pointed out, I think it was harsh, fucking harsh. Unbelievable. Fix your own country. Worry about your country, Harsh. Love you, buddy, but fix fucking Europe. Fucking people. You can't even say things on Facebook without getting arrested, but you can molest a fucking 12-year-old girl over there and get out in 6 months. Fix your own fucking country, Harsh. Ann made a mistake when she said Othram didn't find anything. No, Ann made an completely motherfucking accurate statement. She's representing Brian Christopher Koberger, Harsh. And when she says Othram Labs found nothing, she's actually telling you the truth. They found nothing connecting Brian Christopher Koberger to those DNA samples. That's an accurate statement, Harsh. Hello, Harsh. Can you hear me across the fucking pond? Go on the front lines of Ukraine, Harsh. Go support your European masters' fucking ideas of what's right and wrong in Europe. Leave Brian Koberger case alone, Harsh. Ann was 100% correct when she said that the Othram found nothing. She's representing Brian. Your concept of nothing is nothing. And in the context of defending a specific defendant, when she says that they found nothing, she's only referring to her client, not nothing in the whole wide fucking universe. Harsh. My buddy old pal. Okay? Buddy old pal. He was accurate in that statement. So let off on Ann Taylor. Although I have some complaints about her, but she's doing the best in a rigged criminal fucking system. In a rigged criminal fucking system that's impermeated the entire fucking nation. It's fucking insane what's happened to this nation, folks. It's insane. And so many of you fucking jerk-offs don't think that there's a problem going on. The Ukraine war. The only person that's right about the Ukraine war is fucking Orange Man. We started that fucking war in 2014. That guy almost admitted it the other day, that fucking little midget. Zelensky. I'll give you a fucking Zelensky. Stupid little motherfucker. You've killed millions of fucking people because you thought you could fuck with Russia, because you were given guarantees by the Western powers that you could fuck with Russia, that you would be part of NATO, that our troops would be there to support. Fuck you. You got what you got, you money laundering, child trafficking piece of fucking shit. You got what you got. And then you got thrown out of the White House. I wouldn't even have let you in the White House unless you signed the document from inside the SUV I sent to pick your fucked up ass up at the airport with. Okay? I'd have had that SUV loaded with fucking special operation fucking forces and one piece of paper. Sign here. Oh, you don't want to sign? Get back on the fucking plane, and we're not adding any fuel to it. Goodbye. Out they would have went. I'd have sent that motherfucker on his way immediately. Listen, I said this a long time ago, folks. You guys remember this. Let me just say, and I'll never take credit for something I'm not aware that I did. I won't steal something from these other streamers and claim it to be mine. There's just no way I would do that. Like my understanding of what Gonclave said, Gonzalez, I think to some extent, some things that Heather put forward reinforced or maybe even led me to understand that when he said sleeve, he was talking about the fucking knife sheath. Yeah, see, here's the thing. If Othram did their work and they were able to identify this, even a low count, to other individuals, that's an example of the point I was trying to make. You guys have heard the number between 5 and 650,000 fucking returns. I said that for months. There's no way you could take an unidentified piece of DNA and enter it into a system and not get hit by a fucking train. Because 99.9999% of the DNA is all the same. So there's just no way. When they look for missing victims, they'll get a fucking relative's DNA and try to compare it. It's like he thinks it's Brian's blood on the sheet, and it's not. It's just kind of crazy, man. So now we know that through the process of their searching the DNA, there were hundreds of thousands of potential suspects. What did the FBI do to that sample to double it in size? More than double it in size to narrow it down to a target that they had found. Let's be clear. Brian Kohlberger is now, in my opinion, a target of law enforcement and the government of Idaho and even your federal government, the criminal, corrupt fucking pieces of shit at the FBI. Those people that created the fake stories that Trump was Putin's puppet, that Trump paid people to piss on a bed that Obama slept on. All of that shit is a lie. It was a fucking lie from the beginning, and it'll always be a lie. And there's hundreds of thousands or maybe millions of you fucking ignorant Democrats out there to think that story is true. Now you have a case where you look at Karen Reed. That whole fucking case against her is a lie. That woman's being framed for a crime she did not commit because police officers themselves killed that man. Brian Kohlberger is being framed for a fucking crime he didn't commit because it probably connects to law enforcement and fucking other people in that community that did it. Okay? They're doing the same thing to Kohlberger that they've done to Karen, that they've done to the Delphi, that they've done to Trump, and they've done to anybody else to protect themselves. And there's so many of you brain dead, ignorant motherfuckers that are on this fucking social media that just don't get it, man. You just don't want to stop and consider that the people that are in charge are not your fucking friend. You are just a fucking commodity to them. You're worth nothing. Your life is nothing. You might think you have value, but let me tell you what. You have no value in the eyes of those people in charge. None. They don't even need you for a vote anymore. They'll import the voters from fucking foreign countries. Yeah, they fed him enough bullshit just to get him to shut up. But he knows his place in all of this too. He needs to shut up too. Somebody needs to be held to account. And he's kind of like the Helsinki syndrome. Is that what it was? What do they call that syndrome where you're kidnapped and then you become teammates with the kidnappers? What is that called? I don't know if Karen was ever held behind bars. I think if she was, it was for a short period of time. We live in the most tragic fucking time in all of man's history. In a time where we could actually get the truth and spell the truth and stick to the truth and fix things as a group, we're out here being fucking jerked off. And not even in a pleasant way. Right? Stockholm syndrome. That's what it is. Thanks, Dave. No. Dave got it. Stockholm syndrome. I don't know why I always call it the Helsinki syndrome. I don't know why. But it's the Stockholm syndrome. Thank you, Dave. Yeah, and that's what that Steve and the families are suffering from. They're hostage to the fucking authorities. They're hostage to the fucking authorities, these poor families, with their children slaughtered like that. And they're being told it had to be Koberger. When there's no identification of Koberger, no identification of his car, no way to prove that he was at that house. You never can prove that kid. You could prove he was everywhere but that house. The DNA. If in fact, and I hate using the word if because if takes us down these fucking ignorant roads, but the button snap can only be stainless or brass. That's it. That's it. And we were told that the inside of the button snap was swapped. So we need to know the material of that button snap. That's something I'm surprised Ann Taylor, where this fucking goofball, what's his name there? And I kind of like the guy. I mean, he is all right. Murphy knows all. That guy. Get a clue. He didn't like that I broke that news on the brass back in the day. He was pissed. Oh, yeah. I don't think he mentioned me. He might have. But anyway, get it. So let me see. So we covered the Idaho 4. What else do we got? The Ukraine. Listen, the Ukraine is not a war that should have ever started. Obama started that war in 2014. And just so you know, this is a special message to you, you filthy fucking piece of shit Tommy Jude. You fucking filthy cocksucker. When I told you that war started in 2014 under Obama, and you blew up and said, I'm lying, that's propaganda, and started fucking screaming, you fucking piece of shit, I won't even say what I'll do. You old cocksucker. Yeah, well, your fucking fearless leader Zelensky just admitted yesterday that the fucking war started in 2014 under Obama, you filthy fucking piece of shit. Go get your reflections out, you sick fuck. Go reflect images from the moon and convince people that Trump started the war, you fucking loser. Okay, now back to the fucking stream. That guy disgusts me in ways that no one else on the internet ever has. With that fucking shit at 4 men pissing on Ethan's face. You filthy fucking pig. That's just fucking filthy. And I got a copy of that fucking clip. So go ahead, report me for telling fucking stories, you fucking filth. Ugh. Anyway. So where were we? Idaho 4, Ukraine. Yeah, let's get past Ukraine. Now I'm going to tell you something that's really going to be a bit stunning and a bit shocking. But I'm going to tell you something that I think in the end, if you give this any thought, if any of you have any private time and you spend any of that private time thinking about anything, I want you to think about this. There's a reason why the Epstein tapes and these other fucking pieces of information that connect all of the sex trafficking are being hidden. And the reason they're all being hidden is because it's not the typical people that you're thinking are the culprits when it comes to the Hollywood actors and when it comes to the political actors. Those are not the people that are being protected directly. The protection is to Wall Street. Those are the people that are being protected by keeping this information quiet. The politicians, okay, and Hollywood, of course, interacted in the same arena as them because they were compromised. But their whole purpose, their whole visual act and everything they're doing is their job to protect the leaders of Wall Street, your top Fortune 100, Fortune 500 companies. Those boards of directors that are part of those companies, those banks and those massive conglomerates of multinationals are the true masters of the enslavement for sex of our youth and of our women. Those are the people that are being protected. Those are the people that are in place to stop anything from being released. Everybody wants to attack Pam Bondi. You're going to want to attack Kash Patel, although you're going to want to attack Dan Bongino. I don't agree with those two appointments. I don't think Dan or Kash should have been within the fucking billion miles of the FBI. In all fairness, I'd have got that Florida cop named Judd. That guy would have been a great FBI director. He spends his whole life looking to fucking grab people that are sex trafficking. But this is a hard pill to swallow, that America, and I give some of this to a guest that was on the Benny show. I'm not really a big fan of Benny, but Benny's okay. Benny Johnson or something. I don't know his name exactly, but I've caught some of the stuff. But there was a guest on that show, and the only reason I listened to his show today was because of this guest who's been for 30 years investigating and rescuing people that have been abducted for the sex trafficking trade. And his analysis and his understanding from what he's learned over all of these decades is why I paid attention to that show. And I never considered, although it's hard not to consider, but I never really gave serious thought to why so many government actors in so many key places that could hide or bury or destroy the evidence were in the places that they were, doing the things that they're doing. And you could see it with your own two eyes that they're in fact doing this. And now connecting it to all of the big fucking wigs and all of the biggest places that people could be makes it make sense. It isn't a Bill Clinton that has the power over people that we've been convinced over and over and over. It isn't the Harvey Weinsteins. They were actors within the fucking game, but they weren't the ones pulling the fucking strings. They weren't the ones that had the levers to get things done. It wasn't them at all. It was the people with all of the money and all your banking institutions and all of their board of directors. And I don't want to impugn everybody that's part of a big multinational or big massive fucking companies, but it's hard not to impugn them all because we can't point to who it actually is. But people within those circles of power are the real enemy to humanity. And the catch-22 to their being the enemy to humanity is, in fact, if you take them down, you take the entire world economic system apart. It destroys everything. And that's their leverage. That's their leverage over any politician or any police agency, whether it be the FBI or anywhere else. Their leverage is not only that there's people within those agencies that'll work to their behalf, but there's also people that realize that even if they were to go and take these people down, the resulting calamity against a common man would be so horrific that you're almost caught in a catch-22. What do you do? What do you do? That's the question, you see. I know what I would do, in all fairness. I can't say what I would do, but I know how I would deal with that. It wouldn't be conventional. It wouldn't be acceptable. It would expose me to a life sentence or an executable sentence that I would happily fucking walk my way down, wrap myself in a fucking sheet, and just take it. I wouldn't care. And that's the catch-22. This is the reason somebody from the outside, whether it had been Donald Trump or would have been a person like you or me, it wouldn't have mattered, had to be destroyed. This is why they had to change the laws to try to convict Trump before an election. That's why New York altered its fucking statute of limitations specifically to get Trump and turn misdemeanors into felonies. This is why they went after him after the last election. That was stolen. There was criminality in the count of that vote. Unfortunately, Trump was given bad advice and he was told it was the Democrats. The truth of the matter was the last election was stolen in Republican voting districts. And I'll say that again. The 2020 election was stolen by Republicans. for Biden to win. It was not stolen by Democrats for Democrats to win. The Democrats didn't have enough voters to do it, even with the mail-in voting scam. They still needed voters from the Republican districts to join in to make that possible. And that's how Trump lost the 2020 election. Both parties conspired to take Donald Trump down, and they won. However, and I think this now, the more I'm learning and the more I'm paying attention to things, I think that Donald Trump has had the 4 years that benefited him to the point of understanding just how fucking gross this problem is. And that guy Zelensky is a big part of it. He is a huge part of it, whether by choice or because he's being threatened. He's always been a big part of it. I don't think you've ever heard of 300,000 people going missing in Russia and turned into sex slaves. I don't think you've ever heard that come out of any country in the world except here. And if we're home of the free, land of the brave, home of the free, how is that happening amongst us? How is that happening amongst us? It's quite terrifying, man. So I'm going to say this. I know what I'm going to do with my investments. And I think you all may want to consider where your investments and where your money is. Okay? Because something could happen. Scott Green, Koberger is the micro version of Trump. In some respects, it's actually what's happening all over the country to all kinds of different people. But in all fairness, I honestly think that we need to start moving our money into savings and loans, moving our money out of these big corporate institutions, and moving our investment money under our mattress if need be. Okay? And rig your property with Claymore mines if need be. But I think my advice, and there's not that many people, and there's 72 people. I think my advice to you is to not think about what you're going to lose on your investments, but to always consider that you're going to protect whatever your investment's value is by getting the fuck out. That's my advice to people. Because if this continues to go, and if Kash Patel and Bongino are really good guys that are really going to do the right thing, there's going to be a big fucking problem coming. A big fucking problem. And when it comes to Trump, let me just say, here's a connection between Trump, the Ukraine, and the Trump assassin at that golf course. Go follow that guy. It dawned on me today that if anybody tried to have Trump killed, it was Zelensky. I think in my brain of brains, that Zelensky was behind the assassination attempts on Donald J. Trump, both in Florida and in Pennsylvania. Now, were there agents in America that assisted? Absolutely. Absolutely. But I'm convinced that those two gentlemen had connections in one way, shape, or form. And the guy from Florida that was caught at the golf course has been in Ukraine multiple times. He's been in Afghanistan trying to recruit fighters from Afghanistan to go to Ukraine and fight. The guy in Florida that you hear nothing about was directly connected to fucking Ukraine. Directly connected, with no space in between. And he was a massive sycophant supporter of the Ukrainian war with Russia. I mean, I don't know what these people on the other side think, but if Europe sends 500,000 fucking troops to Ukraine, Putin will hit you with a tactical nuke. He'll fucking smoke you. Yeah, I agree, Van, and I think that's exactly why this fucking kid's having such a fucking heart attack. This kid's acting like a little retard that he is, that fucking comedian, that stripper. And he knows that if there's a ceasefire, Russia went in Ukraine because the Western powers forced him. There was no conflict between the Ukraine and Russia. since the end of the Cold War. They were given their freedom. As a matter of fact, Russia helped and has been helping to try to contain the nuclear power plant that melted down in Ukraine. Russia's part of a big construction outfit that was trying to build a big container around that to stop the radiation from affecting the environment. Ukraine and Russia have thousands of years together, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years together. They've had their conflicts, but this conflict was 100% started by the Western powers. And we did it by inviting the Ukraine into NATO and then acting like they were a NATO member and then convincing other nations on the Baltic Sea to cancel the naval leases of Russian warships. The cancellation of naval bases on the Baltic Sea forced Russia's hand to take the Crimea and to place their navy in the Crimea, which is at the Baltic Sea. That was the first thing Putin did in response to all of these countries going along with the Western powers' demand that they cancel his leases and that they would then pay them. Newland, Merkel, Macron, all of these people were involved in that. The leaders in England, the leaders in America, Obama. And they cornered Russia for no fucking reason. They had no reason to fuck with Russia. Russia was not the aggressor in this conflict. So in addition to doing all of that, the Ukrainian government opposed the Donbass region, which voted independently to secede from Ukraine and become part of Russia's territory because 98% of the people in the Donbass are fucking Russian-speaking people. And when the Ukraine decided it was going to become part of NATO, those two regions, which directly border Russia, voted to secede and become part of Russia, which would have given Russia the buffer zone that we agreed to give them. At the end of the Cold War, when Russia took the wall down in Germany, when Russia gave all of its Eastern Bloc nations their freedom, Russia was given an agreement that no country that borders our border, like for us in Canada, no country that directly borders our country can become a military member of NATO. And the Western powers agreed to that. And what they got in return was the removal of the wall, the cooling of the Cold War, just done. And these countries got their freedom. Poland, Moravia, Ukraine, and a bunch of others that are there. They became their own countries again. That was the agreement that was made to end the Cold War. So when Ukraine decided it was going to join the NATO alliance because NATO had bribed and changed and cooed the government that was in Ukraine and put this little fucking Zelensky in there, Zelensky started fucking sucking the dick of all the Western powers to get money and cash. You know, there's a company called Burisma. Okay? The National Bank of Ukraine was given an $8 billion American guaranteed loan from the World Bank back in 2012 or 2011, something like that. And that money went missing from that bank. Lo and behold, the owner of that fucking bank is the same owner that owns Burisma. The same guy that fucking stole all the money was bribing the Biden administration before they were in office as president, while he was the vice president, giving his kid control of $4 billion of investment, paying his kid $50,000 a month. All of this shit is the Western powers fucking with Russia. And the Western powers being controlled by corrupt fucking massive bankers and institutions connected to the sex trade and the drug traffickers. That's who's running this globe, not you and me. America is not run by we the people. Don't let the last election fool you. Do not let the last election fool you. Trump not only needs these 4 years, but you need to get this guy Vance in place for the next 8 years after that. Or not Vance. What's his name here? Yeah, it is. J.D. Vance. We need him for 8 years to give us the 12 years we need to sort this out and dig through this problem. And it's a shame that the American people are kept so much in the dark. I mean, I don't even know how people don't realize Yeah, I've got so much knowledge when it comes back to the Trump administration. Like here's something, Van. Van may not like this. I don't give a fuck. For Cash Patel to come out and say he's opening an investigation into James Comey, that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my life. Ridiculous on its face. It's stupid, it's ignorant, and it shows this guy knows less than somebody on fucking X, a normal fucking user of X. Well, not all of these, because all of these are pretty fucking stupid. But the idea that he's going to investigate Comey is just stupid. I said, and I was proven right by John Durham, that the criminals and the culprits and the crime for Russiagate were people that you never heard of before. And what did John Durham tell us? Who did John Durham go after? In the limited capacity that he was allowed to go after. People and names that never were mentioned before. Because the corruption in the FBI, okay, is unlikely to be led from the leader. Because the leader no longer has the power. That fucking power dropped to number 2, Andy McCabe. If this fucking guy, Cash Patel, knew what he was doing, his investigation would be Andrew McCabe, not James Comey. That's why I have a problem with him and fucking Dan Bongino in there. Because their view of what happened, although sounds like it might be true, it's just off base. They need to shift their focus to who was really responsible. And I promise you, who was really responsible for Russiagate are names that you and I have never heard of that work within that federal government. Part of that fucking bureaucracy, the CIA, the DOJ, the DOD. And I say to you, too, that General Flynn was part of that fucking problem, too. General Flynn was a key fucking player in all that took place. General Flynn, I confronted him on X. And he said to me now almost a year ago, his brother, when I came forward, I confronted him directly. I said, your fucking brother is a traitor. You fucking lied for your brother. And the fact of the matter is that the way your brother got out of that criminal charge protected the deep state. The deep state joined in your fucking motion. A motion that you claimed assaulted General Flynn, threatened General Flynn, and compelled General Flynn and forced him to plead guilty. His motion to dismiss was joined by the deep state. Therefore, he did nothing but protect Bill Barr and all those people in the deep state by doing what he did. If your brother was truly fucking coerced and had evidence to show he was coerced, where's the fucking lawsuit? And his brother said that lawsuit will be out there within a month or two. That's been a fucking year ago, Van. So nobody can tell me that General Flynn isn't a part of that fucking criminality that trapped our government and fuck Trump and fuck Trump, fuck you and me for years with that fucking bullshit with the DOJ that he was a part of. That fucking stupid motherfucker General Flynn was part of Russiagate. He wasn't a victim of, he was an actor within. And I'm fucking glad Trump doesn't really give that guy any fucking position or pay any attention to that guy or fucking tweet or talk to him. General Flynn is a fucking traitor. And I'll take that to my fucking grave. That lying fucking scamming piece of fucking shit. Why do you think the judge at the end of that hearing went fucking ballistic? That was, a lot of people forget. You're supposed to be political fucking savants. You're a bunch of political fucking twits. What happened to the General Flynn case at the very end in that last hearing was unprecedented in all of legal history. It had never, ever, ever been done. The judge was besides himself because he didn't know, there was no way he could hold the Department of Justice accountable. Imagine a defendant filing a motion that these people coerced and threatened and forced me to make this fucking confession. And they were going to destroy my family, including my son, if I didn't plead guilty. And the Department of Justice joined that fucking motion for dismissal. Who the fuck are the people in the DOJ? Where are the people in the DOJ that were fired from that, man? Where are the guys in the DOJ that the DOJ isn't admitting but agreed with him to dismiss the case? Where are the fucking cops that did that to Mr. Flynn? Why aren't they being fucking sued personally? Why isn't the Department of Justice in the United States government at a lawsuit by the Flynn family? I'm sorry. Look, I might have been born at night and I might have hit my head as a fucking kid, but I don't buy it. It doesn't play and pass the fucking sniff test. It's bullshit. Yeah, I suspect that there are, and I don't doubt that there's gain of function research labs in the Ukraine. But my understanding is that to the extent that he could, Putin has either taken them over or destroyed them. So where are you on that van, Uncle Van? That fucking General Flynn. The corruption within our system, folks, is so fucking endemically just driven in. I don't know what happens. I don't know what happens. I don't know. I don't even know if you had $1 million stuffed away in your house, if that money's going to be, it might cost you $1 million to buy a loaf of bread soon. I don't know. I have no idea how this takedown is managed and if the takedown is actually managed. Well, let me say, it really depends. There's a way to maybe, and this is where I think that Trump is trying to manage the taking down of the criminal fucking aspects of our government in a way that doesn't destroy the country. Okay? And I don't think Vladimir Putin is our enemy. Vladimir Putin is more on side of decency and religion and doing the right thing than any of the Western powers. The people in the West are like Tommy Jude. They need funny fucking reflections and they create these fucking extravagant fucking bullshit fucking stories. Meanwhile, the truth is the simple obvious answer. Just like if you look at Idaho 4, there's an obvious fucking answer staring you there in the face. But all of this fucking drama and all of this chaos and all of this nonsense keeps you from looking at the actual truth. Yeah, no, Putin. Look at, he's the leader of a country. He's got to do for what's best for his country. Does he grift? Does he? Yeah. But people don't realize that the entire Soviet Union was based on fucking theft by the people in the I can't say that word, Poltava, and by the leaders of the country. Okay. Same thing that China's the same way as Russia was. That's what I mean. How dare we allow Apple to do business in China? How dare we as Americans buy an Apple product? You bunch of sick motherfuckers out there allowing those people to be fucking subjugated and fucking enslaved for $1.60 an hour and then stuck in fucking apartments that are costing them $1 million that they could never pay off. Unfucking believable, that country over there. Yeah, they got the modern amenities. 300 million of them do. The other 800 million people live in abject poverty. And they're only brought out of poverty as much as China needs them to go perform a task for the government. All of the big businesses we send over there are the ones that are helping create and keep that going. I don't know. We're really fucking far down the wrong side of the fucking hill. I don't know how America climbs back to the top of that hill. I don't know. I know one thing for sure is we're being entertained to death after the last hearing, so the end of January. I don't know what agreement you guys are talking about. And I look at, like I said, I wish the information in my head, and I've got files, a terabyte of files, could be presented to the American people with some fucking guy with a comb over fucking hairdo and a calm, relaxed voice that, that seems to entertain fucking people. The Idaho Super Agreement. What's the Idaho Super Agreement? The Intellectual Particle Accelerator. That's interesting. That particle accelerator ain't going to accelerate shit because there's few intellectuals left in our country. The Intellectual Particle Accelerator. You might as well name it the fucking retard accelerator. Unfucking believable. I don't know. I got to see if Grok is working again. What do we got over here? We got 42 people with, and we have 35 people over here. Wait a minute. Uh-oh. There we go. My volume. The huge agreement, just the huge agreement that Green just signed. Oh God, oh God, oh God. I've heard that over the last week or so. I've been busy. I've been busy. I heard that. I heard that. I heard that. What's up there, Beckles? Hummingbird mouth. I don't even know. But between Twizzle stick, that I don't know. There's what the hell he's gonna work. You keep that stick out of your ass, you'd be a little better off there, Twiz. You could then come up and have conversations. And then Heather Fitzgerald, like she's part of the Kennedy clan or something. I don't know where the fuck that name comes from. I don't think it's real. Fucking incredible. Bruno Pellicano on X is M Spygate. La 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 la. Oh boy. So what else is going on? How about some good news about stuff? Let's see here. I did solve my fucking garbage problem to the extent that they finally took their fucking cans out of here. And I got a new set of cans coming on Tuesday. Which is nice. Which is nice. Get them cans up here. Let's get her done. All right. What else? What else? So that, I got my dentist appointments, 2 of them this month. By the end of the month, I should have the posts for the 3 teeth implanted. So my implants should be in by the end of this month. And that'll probably slow down the amount of talking that I do, although I wouldn't fucking count on it. Yeah, the grill's doing well. I got to go in on the 10th and get 2 more cavities filled. Yeah, the world's a damn mess. What a hummingbird moth looks like. I don't know. But I don't know where that even plays into anything that I've spoken to. Let's see. Over here we have my follower count has gone up, and I actually have 7 people on Rumble. Rumblers. I don't even know if I spelled that right. My typing is terrible. People on Rumble. Look at that. We got Rumblers going today. We love the Rumblers. That's taken a long time. 7 people in that stream, but probably is counting me for the fuck's sakes of it all. 8 people, which would probably be me and 7 others. Absolutely incredible. You guys can type, and it should pipe in across the stream. Yeah. Pray they don't hit a nerve with the implants. Don't start worrying me, Steve, because I will find you. Stock typing with Twizzle stick. You mean start typing with Twizzle stick? I don't know. That's going to have some kind of fucking odor to it. My suspicion, if he puts it where I think he's been putting it. Oh my God. Yeah. We don't want this to be too crazy. So we'll see. I'm going to get one side of my mouth done first. And then when they're ready to put the teeth on that side, they're going to put the other posts in. Because I'm going to have, I think, a total of 4 teeth, maybe 6 teeth. I'm leaning towards the 6. I'm leaning towards the 6 because they quoted me a price and then they offered me a 20% discount for cash. And that's just extremely appealing for me to have that discount. That 20% makes up a big difference. And so that's why I think I'm going to go with 6 teeth. Not that I need the 6, but one that needs a filling. I don't know how long that filling's going to last. And since it's on the same side where I need 2, then I'm going to change it. That'll be 3. And then on the opposite side, I definitely need 2 teeth. But there's a third one that's missing, and I'm just going to replace it because you might as well to have all your teeth back, right? So there would be a total of 6. And the price they're giving me, I think I'm going to get all 6 teeth done for around $12,000 or $13,000. And to me, that's money well spent. That's a hell of a fucking deal. No, let's not fuck with the AI. I'm going to do a little of that before I go to bed tonight. But yeah, I would apologize to Elon, except I'm a fucking criminal, fucking ex-crackhead, fucking homeless piece of shit 30 years ago. And for me to be able to break your AI doesn't speak a lot to your fucking skills. So I'm going to kind of keep it to myself. I don't want to humiliate the guy because he is doing good work with government. And somebody needs to fix his robot because there's no way that I should have been able to make it a stumbling, bumbling, retard fucking AI. By asking simple questions that I probably could have figured out with a calculator myself. No way am I smarter than Elon. But I can say that there's nothing Elon knows that I couldn't. Right? There's nothing he knows that I couldn't know. And that goes for all of you. That's what irritates me with people. I think if there's one thing I don't like about humanity, is you're all so much more capable than what you are. You've limited yourselves. You're way smarter than you could ever imagine. There's nothing Einstein talked about or discovered or proved that you couldn't understand. But nobody pays it. They think it's not important. There's no way that you couldn't understand the legal system, that you couldn't understand the congressional system, that you couldn't understand your transportation system for your school buses, that you can understand all of this. It's not that complicated. Humanity isn't some special, unique form of fucking intelligence that's unattainable because you only have 100 or a 90 IQ. That's not it at all. They may got you thinking that, but that's just a fucking lie. I mean, Twizzlestick is pretty sharp, but I bet you he doesn't hit any high needles on an IQ test. Heather is smart, but she spends a lot of time repeating herself. So I don't know if she's all there or not. I'm still wondering. Van Savant, I think he figures I might have been yelling at him. He ditched. He's probably chewing on asparagus somewhere. Or, I don't know, maybe he's using it to soothe his ass after I put my foot in it. I have no idea. I don't have all these answers. She don't know if she's all there is either sometimes. Yeah, so there you go. Yeah, it's not just me. I don't know. We could design the new nuclear power plants and rule the world, Sarge. Yeah, we could. Well, we could. Obviously, the repeat is for Steve. Heather Fitzgerald. The repeat is for Steve. Poor Steve. You're guessing Steve watches. Steve doesn't watch anything that's going to contradict Steve, and that's kind of the way we are. I do listen to a whole bunch of streamers that I don't agree with, folks. Because sometimes they spit out information that I've missed, that I haven't seen or haven't heard, and then I'm able to go see if that information is valid. When I did all of my legal stuff, I spent more time on the left-wing media than I did on the right-wing media. The reason being, the absolute truth is that there's no such thing as a lie unless you're hiding a truth. And it's how they frame the truth to support their lie that matters. And so if you're trying to find out what your opposition's point of view is, you have to actually listen and dig into what they're saying and what they're doing. Yeah, well, we got to stop teaching these kids about sex at 6 years old. That's one of the first things we need to do. She was taking care of 21 goats when she was 9. I wonder why he sent you that. He didn't send that to me. Yeah, I don't even know how. I'm very, very upset with Hitler, but not surprised. Not surprised that Hitler did what he did. I'm also not surprised with them trying to argue that he, I would say my alibi relies 100% on the state's case. The state's case is my alibi. That would be my alibi. Why she's not saying that? She said that without saying it. Brian Kohlberger can't give you his entire alibi until he understands what the state is charging him with and what their evidence is. Well, that very evidence that the state holds in their possession that they're trying to allege proves Kohlberger's involved here is the exact evidence that shows he's not. My evidence is your criminal prosecution. That's what she should say. Brian Kohlberger's alibi is contained within the documents the prosecution will put forward to the court. It's included in all their experts. That's where Brian Kohlberger's alibi lies. I don't know why she just can't say that. She's not stupid. Brian said since the day he was arrested that he has his phone and knows his location. That's one part of the story. But it's in fact the locations that the police are going to argue place him somewhere that he wasn't. And then they're going to argue, I've said this before, Just agree with the transcript. Agree with everything except the location of your car at that house. Everything else is accurate. And now what? Now what the fuck do the police do? Yeah, they do. They do, Beckles. And that's the American justice system. Listen, it's like I bring up that case about the guy that killed his ex-wife. And a neighbor saw a pickup truck in her driveway, took a picture of the pickup truck with the license plate while it was running. Not long after she heard a fucking heart-piercing scream. And the police never arrested the ex-husband. They went and impounded his truck. Found copious amounts of blood and DNA of his dead wife in the truck. Okay? And then arrested the guy for the crime. Because there was no image of him at the house. The neighbor you didn't know who put his truck there. You could assume. But the law is based on a factual creation of facts. A series of events that are connected by factual, unimpeachable points that laid down at your feet and show that there is no reasonable doubt that this person committed the crime. That's the level of commitment that the prosecution is supposed to maintain. And we, as a country, have allowed these people to alter and change and fuck that up by getting on TV like that piece of shit Bill. Right? The police know they're lying. The prosecution knows they're lying. But this is all they got. Because if they actually tell you who committed the crime, the entire town comes down. I'm convinced of that now. Even if Koberger was involved, I can even accept that. But they're not telling you the entire fucking rendition of events that took place that night at that house. That murder of those 4 young people has got more to it than what we're being told. And what we're being told, not only does it not make sense, but every time they give you up, every time discovery is shown to you, it shows you over and over and over again that more than one person was in that property that night. Don't give me no horse shit that gloves outside with fucking blood on them aren't connected to the murder. You couldn't fucking sell that fucking horse shit to anybody. And yet here they are. And they're going to get it fucking, try to get the evidence banned from the fucking, the defense using it. It's fucking sad. It really is. It's the most unimaginable fucking series of events that they've placed together. And these holier than thou jerk offs that think they're fucking morally or mentally superior to you because Brian's guilty. My God, there's a bunch of fucking retards that the schools missed intentionally and let them run free amongst us. And they fucking swamped to the fucking social media. My last count, 5.63 billion of them. Where the fuck is Carl? Where's Carl? Where is Carl? Anybody seen Carl? Where's Carl? Absolute fucking insanity. Same thing with our politicians. Nobody's paid attention to Wall Street. Isn't that fucking weird? All of these people on Twitter and all of these people that are on X writing all these stories about all of these people involved in government. Not a one of them have paid any attention or made any attempt to connect them to all our top fucking gurus in Wall Street. And that's where you're going to find the fucking people that run these operations and run your government and run the world. We're not run by fucking local establishments anymore. We just have the fucking picture that we are, the idea, the hope, the prayer. We are fucked. And not in a pleasant way. Oh my God. And, it's these kinds of statements in my fucking forceful fucking manner that'll keep me from ever being the most famous streamer online. I'm not so much an influencer as I is a chastiser. If influence meant chastisement, I would win the fucking trophy. So what says anybody in chat before I close this fucking mess down? What say you, chat people? Let's see here. Paste. There, you can jump on the stream here. I'll put this over here. You can go from Rumble. You could click on that and join my stream here and actually have a conversation with me. The same goes for you people at Twitter. You can actually use this link with your phone, with a microphone or a phone, and join me up here on the stream. You could show me where I'm wrong. You can call me names. You can assault or attack me. You can go along with the line of reasoning that I have. You could do whatever the fuck you think you want to do. And I'm completely okay with it. Don't you worry about it. I will allow it. There are no fucking limits for the guests. You can hate my fucking guts and click your ass up on in here and just let me have it. Go ahead. Bring it. Look at somebody's name is in the string. Who's that Bruno guy? Sons of bitches. Little Zelensky. Little Zelensky went to the White House and got it shoved right up his ass. Well, that's a nice one. Let's see if he let's see if he keeps his word. This is from Director Kash Patel. The FBI is entering a new era, one that will be defined by integrity, accountability, and the unwavering pursuit of justice. There will be no cover-ups, no missing documents, and no stone left unturned. And anyone from the prior or current bureau that undermines this will be swiftly pursued. If there are gaps, we will find them. If records have been hidden, we will uncover them. And we will bring everything we find to the DOJ to be fully assessed and transparently disseminated to the American people as it should be. The oath we take is to the Constitution, and under my leadership, that promise will be upheld without compromise. And this is where we need to send information about the Brian Kohberger case and the FBI's staunch fucking interference in this case and their refusal to not only follow their interim policies, but their fucking violation of the Fourth Amendment of the Constitution to anybody that they connected themselves to in databases where they did not use a warrant. That's exactly what we should be doing here and going after these fucking people. But no, why would we do that? The FBI is as deeply involved in the Idaho 4 cases as it is involved in the assassination attempts against the fucking sitting president. They're as involved in that as they were in the involvement of trying to take a sitting president and destroy him by trying to make him look like a Russian fucking asset. This goes for all of your different agencies, especially when you talk about these states. In New York, in California, it's illegal to show ID to vote. That entire state and all of its politicians and lawyers and police and judges all need to be pushed into the fucking ocean. And it needs to be reset. That entire state needs to be eradicated from the fucking left-wing fucking piece of shit Democrats that they overtook. Same thing for New York. The same thing for Illinois. They're enemies of the nation, these governments in these states that are doing what they're doing. Enemies. Enemies to the goodness of the people of the United States of America. Enemies to us in ways, our children, to the sanctity of life, and they need to be removed. The federal government should, by force, take action against the leaders and the political players in the states where this is happening. Okay? Or cripple them so much that they have to step down. Cripple them financially so much that they have to step down. There has to be serious action taken against the fucking hole that we're in. And even though you can get up every day and go to work, and even though you can get up every day and go buy that stuff, that's what they're counting on you to do. Shut the fuck up and go pay for your $8 eggs, okay? You're all a bunch of fucking niggers. Degenerate fucking losers. Your life has no value in the eyes of those that have set this fucking corruption in play. Now, let that shit rest. And then you got assholes like Jeff H., okay, that support this kind of a governmental system. That can invent the fucking suspect and then fucking cob together bullshit fucking stuff to accuse and impugn and use the media to destroy this individual. An individual that apparently was minding his own motherfucking business, eating his curds and whey. And along came the government by the name of the fucking, what's that guy's name, that fucking lawyer? That Thompson. That crack smoking Santa Claus looking motherfucker. Tyrannical. It's worse than that. Tyrannical would be a fucking pleasure. Because we have the illusion of freedom, the illusion of being Americans. We maintain that. We don't do anything to break our fucking our stride. We don't spend any time as a group. Millions of fucking followers with Joe Rogan. I listened to 3 hours of Joe Rogan with Elon Musk. Not one fucking point was ever made what the people could do. We're trying to save the country for the people. Well, what can the people do to help you? Where's that fucking Mr. Rogan, you fucking twit? The fuck, bro? Mr. fucking Musk, you fucking twit? Where's that fucking? What can we do to help you? What can we do as a group of people to assist in your fucking work? Not a fucking thing is offered to the American people. Not one of these so-called leaders gives you anything to fucking follow. Except wait. Sit and fucking wait. And hope that they do what they say they're going to do. Maybe the reason they don't try to get us to come on board to do something is because they themselves don't want you to do something. You know, Elon was waxing on and waxing off about he knows that if he exposes the people that are tied to this Jeffrey Epstein and all this sex trafficking, that he himself will probably be killed. And you could see the guy struggling with what's the right thing to do here. And there should be no struggle, Elon. None. You do what's right and let the cards fall where they will. And if that means you lose your life, you lose your life. Otherwise, you shouldn't have put your fucking hat in the ring, motherfucker. You should have stayed back there with the rockets. And you shouldn't be asking stupid fucking questions about heat shields. Okay? Slow your fucking spacecraft down, you fucking twit. And you don't need something that'll stand 3,000 fucking degrees. Just slow it down in space. Launch a 50-ton fucking recovery rocket into the fucking atmosphere. Let your 17,500-mile craft dock with it. And let that fucking rocket fuel and rocket engine slow your fucking spacecraft down 30%. And then let it burn up in the atmosphere if need be. Or coat it with special fucking tiles. And let it come back to Earth at 17,000. It wouldn't even be. It would come back at the same speed as the ship. Let them both come home. He's done good. But I find it incredible that a guy with his kind of fucking thinking isn't trying to come up with a way to slow his own spacecraft the fuck down. That's what he needs to do. That's it. Very simple. Is it a complex engineering issue? Yes. Is it modifications that aren't there, that maybe it wasn't built for? Yeah. Yeah. But you can build a completely separate rocket engine with its own fuel reserves, okay? And launch it. Launch it. And let it fucking sit back and wait. You don't need that much fucking fuel. You're not launching 1 million fucking pounds. You're launching a couple 100,000, maybe 150,000 fucking pounds. 200,000 pounds. That's easy to launch. A Falcon 9 can do that. And put a rocket engine in fucking space with its own fuel and oxidizer on it. And let the nose of your fucking ship dock with it, Elon. Slow your ship down to under 13,000 miles an hour. Problem fucking solved. All right, folks, it's been a great ranting fucking crazy fucking stream, which I'm probably going to become known for by at least a few people, at least 95 of you. So I'm not saying a lot of people have done a good job, but a lot of good people that do nothing means the bad guys win. This guy's he put himself in the fucking shoes of where he's at. I don't want to hear any fucking pity party you're going to be assassinated. I'm sorry. Hire me. I'll come out and give the fucking names. Give me the microphone. Put me on a fucking stage. Put me in a fucking marina. Put me in a fucking a football stadium. Put me in a fucking cornfield. I don't give a fuck. Give me the names. And if they want to blow my fucking head off, then I'm dead. I don't care. I'm old enough to know that unless we start doing the right thing ain't ever going to get done. And unless there's people willing to fucking stand up and do it, then you got nothing. And we all are something. We all are greater together than we are as individual parts. Okay? Great Pearl's like, I'm fucking late. Yeah, you're an hour and a half late there, Pearl. Okay? An hour and a half late. Yeah. And you're a blue wrench. I think your wrench is tainted. That's true. I do have a lot of passion there, Kimberly. I appreciate you noticing that. A lot of people think it's anger or rage, and it's not. I'm just very passionate. And, I got no one here that I can make yell, oh God, oh God, oh God tonight. So I had to do a stream. Yikes. Folks, it's been fun. I appreciate anybody that does come up and listen to me. And I hope you take something away from it. And it's all I can hope for. In the meantime, we'll be back during the week. This is your host, Sergeant Friday, with Your Ass Hurts News Network from the top of Cock Tower in Beijing, China. Everybody be good or be bad and don't get caught. Have a good night.